Hey all, Pibby Rizzo. Hello Void, how are you? Oh boy, I don't even know where to start with this one today. So, ever seen a movie a long time ago and just remember it being a bad film? Occasionally you'll watch it again and you'll realize maybe you were a little hard on it. That's not the case today. Now, I'm not the best note taker in the world, and occasionally for doing these, I'll jot a few little things here that I want to remember. Just usually a few little details that or little talking points. I more or less have filled a page today. So, killer clown movies. There's plenty of them. And some of them good. It, the remakes of it, Killer Clowns from Outer Space is fun. Terrifier. Sure. There are plenty that are not good. Dead Clowns, Clowntown, Clownado. Yes, that's an actual movie. And then there's Killjoy, which is what we're talking about today. And I don't have a full individual thing, because anyone who just buys this movie on their own. So I've got a nice collection here that has several movies, and, well, Killjoy is, I guess you can call it a movie. So, a little background here. This is put out by Big City Pictures, and produced by Charles Band of Full Moon fame. Now, Full Moon Films later picked up the series for Killjoy, but in 2000 it was just produced by Charles Band. Like, he didn't actually want to put it under his Full Moon label, but I guess he had a fondness enough for it to later absorb it, because they made not one, not two, not three, four sequels to this. Now, I've seen some of these sequels. They aren't. Number two, it's not terrible, but it's not good. Number three, I actually had a bit of a soft spot for. And I have not gotten around to seeing 4 or 5, but I have a bad feeling I will eventually. Okay, so, Killjoy. Killjoy. Where do you begin with Killjoy? Well, let me start with some of the positives on Killjoy. This won't take long. First, the movie's 71 minutes, so it's a quick sit. Despite that, they really pad it out at points. But it's short. And I will say, the makeup effects are pretty good. The kills, well, most of the actual kills themselves during it, not so good. The makeup effects they use for them and some of the zombie ghost entities that appear aren't bad. Those are actually fairly good. And the makeup on the titular Killjoy, well, the face makeup's good. Okay. Back to the little thing I showed you down here, is not a good, accurate representation of this film. This is more of how Killjoy looks in later films rather than this one. Because this one, he looks, God, ridiculous. Yes, he's a clown, I know, but... Okay, Killjoy himself. Now, later on, Killjoy was replaced by a different actor, but this one we have the original one, and I will say his performance is good. The voice he uses, 50-50, because he's really high-pitched at points. I can't do it. He's played by a black actor, and I cannot duplicate the right tone of voice for that, and it'd be offensive for me to even try. But his outfit is bright pink and yellow. Now, I will say, the makeup on the face is good. The grease paint looks good. The teeth, they're creepy. The eye makeup, well done. Then you get to his hair, which is this big, poofy, it goes out to I can't even frame this well. It goes out to, like, here. Like a pseudo-afro sort of thing. Now, I will say, I'm not trying to be racially insensitive at all. The entire cast, from what I can tell, is African American, and there's no problem with that, except for the product they put forward, which, oh boy. So, Killjoy himself is a mixed bag. His powers and abilities are not defined, but essentially he is a demon clown that has been conjured to fight some bullies. That's kind of the core thing here. You hear my cat talking about it. She saw this movie too. She was not impressed. Okay. But Killjoy has undefined, indestructible clown powers. More or less. He's sort of like the It clown Pennywise, but without the fear angle. Killjoy just does whatever he feels like. Okay, so plot. And I might go into some spoiler territory on this, because who cares? Not with this movie. And it's to go into some of how poor things are done is almost required. Actually, do I want to do the plot first or go into some other complaints? Like I said, I have a page of notes. It's hard to keep track because I had to go jump around. Well, I will first go into the camera before I go into this. It's kind of a shaky cam in general. If you gave the camera caffeine, I mean, effectively, the camera's going like this the entire time, except for the action scenes, when it really just seems to try to be getting these artistic shots and failing. Yeah, it'll do this for a second. Just randomly move to something else just to try to get another shot. To no avail. Okay. So, the plot. Yeah, we have to touch on it. So, story focuses at first on Michael. Now, Michael has a crush on Jada. Now, Jada is dating the local bad boy, Lorenzo, who's a bit of a gang leader. Now, from context, he's trying to ask Jada to prom, which kind of puts them sort of in high school, maybe. They do not look like they're in high school. They look like they would have graduated college a while ago. But they talk about prom, and after they jump to a year later, they're still talking about classes as if it's a high school. But I digress. That is only one issue in a sea of them. So, Michael likes Jada. Lorenzo has told Michael time and again to stay away from his girl. And Lorenzo has had enough of Michael's shenanigans. But Michael, he's got a plan. And that plan is to use black magic to summon a clown named Killjoy to get his bullies out of the picture. He sets up a circle of candles, sits in the middle of it chanting, begging his doll to come to life and kill his bullies. Okay. So, the ritual seems to not work. And Michael gets lured outside by one of Lorenzo's gang members, Baby Boy. Now, Lorenzo and his two gang members, because apparently it's a gang of three, T-Bone and Baby Boy, speak only in slang and tough and alpha male chest thumping terms. Anyway, they drag Michael outside, drive him off, and essentially threaten him to stay away from Jada. They pull a gun on him. They they seem to make it to want to act, then Lorenzo seems to want to kill him. But it looks like it's more of a fake out, and he's not going to do it because the gun's not loaded. So, of course, the gun goes off and kills Michael. Obviously. Whenever someone says the gun's not loaded, of course the gun's loaded. And of course it's going to go off. So, they kill the character who looked like was going to be our protagonist. And then we cut to a year later. Now, we pick back up with Jada, who is now dating someone else because I guess after murder, she's no longer interested in dating Lorenzo. Though there seems to have been no other repercussions, or no one else seems to have noticed Michael's death other than the main characters, as Lorenzo and his gang still seem to be going free. Now, Jada is now dating Jamal, and they're having a little study session with some of the cheesiest dialogue possible. Meanwhile, they keep cutting back to what Lorenzo's doing, which is just hanging out with his boys, smoking a blunt. Anyway, Lorenzo goes off to be with his current girl. We're cutting completely away from Jada. All we were on there was just to establish that she is now banging Jamal. That's not implied. They actually go on and show that right then and there. That's where we're at. Anyway, Lorenzo goes off, leaving T-Bone and Baby Boy. And I kid you not, I'm trying to figure out how to actually say this so it makes sense, but I can't. You hear an ice cream truck pull up and get real excited and run outside. I'm not kidding, that's what actually happens. And they go up and find a clown in the back of the ice cream truck who's offering them drugs. Sure. Now, to this movie's credit, it doesn't get a lot of credit, but I'll give it this. They frame this scene not bad. Some of the dialogue is terrible here, but the scene itself is a little strange, as would you trust a random ice cream truck with a clown in it that's suddenly offering you drugs? These guys do. But, like I said, the scene's framed pretty well, because when you see Killjoy in the back of the truck, you only see the bottom half of his face, and as well as his jaunty clown outfit, which is an interesting framing choice. And it actually works a bit to its credit, because all you see is him like this, talking, yeah, come on, I got drugs for you, come into the back. So they do. Then you kind of cut to where you see Killjoy's eye, and it's clearly demonic. So that was cool. That was well done. Props to it for that. I will give it that. But they go into the back of the truck and are transported to Killjoy's domain. Because you don't have a domain? Killjoy's got a domain. Everybody should have a domain. Well, Killjoy's domain looks like an abandoned building. On the wrong side of town. Anyway. So, T-Bone and Baby Boy do the obvious thing, split up and try to find this clown motherfucker, as they so elegantly put it. And proceed to be each killed off with very unimpressive effects. One of them is run over by an ice cream truck, while the other is... Okay, if you're after a killer clown to whoop his ass, wandering through an abandoned building, and you find a still-lit blunt in a chain-link fence, is your first instinct to smoke it? Because it was T-Bone's. So he smokes it, and then the clown, as he puts it, smokes him, and he just goes up in flames. The effect, that does not look as cool as I'm making it sound. Okay, so I will say the acting in this movie is a mixed bag. Now, at this point, I was a little sad to see T-Bone go, because he was enthusiastic and having the time of his life at this movie, and he was the most fun to watch. Killjoy also, himself, isn't bad. Trying way too hard to be the Joker for one-liners, and failing, but when his attitude lands, it lands okay. I miss T-Bone, though. He was fun. But all was not lost, as T-Bone and the baby boy continue to appear as corpseified ghosts to help kill future victims, so I did have that, at least. Anyway, we go back to outside the ice cream, the world outside the ice cream truck, and life is going on. We cut back to Lorenzo, who's with his girl. Cue another sex scene. After that, and he tries to get deep for a few minutes and fails. But Lorenzo's new girl, who I did not catch the name of, goes off to have a shower, which we see all of. And Lorenzo goes to watch TV. Now, we keep cutting back and forth from what's going on with Lorenzo and what's going on in the shower. As Lorenzo is slowly lured out of the house, back to the shower, lured into the ice cream truck, back to the shower, and lured into Killjoy's world, where he faces off against his dead friends and Demon Clown, while we're still seeing the shower. Now, he manages to pull a gun and shoot Killjoy. Now, it just looks like a pistol, sort of like a revolver, really, so I don't know how he managed to shoot like 30 times into the cloud without reloading, recocking, anything. It was just bang, 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 to a ridiculous extent. Which does nothing to the clown. Clown then spits all the bullets back at him. Okay. Then we go back to the shower again. For no reason other than just to keep leering at her, I suppose. But we do follow her for a little while after that, as she finds the body of her boyfriend and is harassed by Killjoy, but then she runs away and she's out of the movie. So we really need to see what she was doing in the shower the whole time, obviously. Well, I will say, at this point, it didn't hurt the movie. So I told you all that. Going into more detail than I usually do in this review, because at this point, the movie pauses to get back to the other characters. Now, Jada and Jamal are called by Monique, who was established early in the film. I just haven't gotten around to her mentioning her yet. They get beeped by her. This one was set in 2000. Were people still really using beepers then? Or pagers? Maybe? I don't remember. Anyway, that she gets beeped. That's an emergency. Okay, so she and Jamal go over to her friend Monique's place. This is another scene that sounds like a fever dream. So they knock on the door, no answer. They finally just open and go in and find her standing there, clasping hands with a homeless man, who we saw earlier also in one scene. And he proceeds to offer them a prophetic vision for what's going on to let them know what's happening. No, I'm not kidding. They join hands, close their eyes, and we see the whole movie again. It flashes back to Michael flirting with Jada, flashes back to them killing him, flashes back to all the death scenes we just saw. Remember when I said this movie is 71 minutes? It takes the time to do a recap episode in the middle. And the homeless guy then takes time to tell them that in order to escape this, because the clown's coming for Jada, clearly, that they have to kill the doll to end the thing, face the clown, kill the doll to end the nightmare. And then the homeless man vanishes into thin air. I'm sorry, I need a moment. Okay. The rest of the movie is them going outside, jumping in the ice cream truck, entering the domain, and facing off against Killjoy. Now, I haven't talked much about Monique and Jamal. I should talk about Monique and Jamal. Those two are the worst actors in the movie. Monique seems like she's reading off of cue cards half the time. Goes into the ice cream shop. Oh god, where are we? And later on, once the clown reappears after they thought they defeated him, oh no. No emotion beyond that pitch. And Jamal... Well, first off, he makes a big show about we have to stick together and we'll get through this, and then not 10 seconds later, he's like, once they get into I want to say Pennywise, it's not that good of a movie, Killjoy's realm, he immediately says, we have to split up. No, no, guys, we have to split up. In order to, it's too big, we'll never find him otherwise. He actually has a little stutter and misstep in the middle of his lines. And later on, when they're doing Sudvasan's ritual, everyone has to stay in the circle. Don't break the circle. This guy is so flat when he's not doing a tough guy routine, and even then he's coming across as... I don't know. His performance is not good. Okay. The only other point I'm confused on is when they're in Pennywise's... Ah, God, I did it again. I said Pennywise. It's Killjoy. Should remember the name. It's like it's right in front of me here. Killjoy's realm. And while fighting off the zombie gangsters, they knock over a box, and suddenly out pops a long sword and a battle axe. Because... Okay. So the effects of this movie are pretty bad. I will say most of the budget seems to have gone into the opening credits, where they use some decent effects and don't have a bad soundtrack through at that point. And the other effects are terrible. Like when one guy's getting shot up, there's some CGI clouds of red just kind of burst out of him. Or a guy one of the zombies gets his head taken off. They have this bad green screen effect of the headless body walking around with green smoke coming out. It's bad. The effects are not good, and a low budget movie I can forgive, but this movie is not good enough to distract you from them. Okay, I think I've covered most of my notes. Just making sure. Okay, there's only one other comment left to add to it, and that's the ending of the movie, because, of course, this movie goes out. Like this movie has to go out. With a couple fake-out dream sequences, culminating with Cunigulus with a demon clown. That is the end of the movie. Implied oral sex with a demon clown. Good night, everybody. Oh, wait. I forgot. I haven't rated it yet. See, this is why I should be taking more and better notes so I can keep my thoughts when I'm facing down a movie like this. It's one MacGuffin. Obviously, it's one MacGuffin. Good night, everybody.